A 5-year-old boy has died after a wall collapsed on him during a birthday party at an adventure golf club in southeast London.
The Sidcup Family Golf Centre remains closed today, while the Met Police work with the local health and safety inspector to investigate what happened here.
Also on the programme, countdown to the budget. We hear from high street businesses anxious about how the Chancellor's announcements will impact them this time round.
A bit like sort of knowing you've got an appointment at the dentist, you sort of know it's going to hurt and you just kind of want to get it over and done with.
Plus, why new DLR trains have been temporarily withdrawn from service after only being introduced 6 weeks ago. And
I mean, I've been acting for 60 years and I still don't know how to act Shakespeare.
Off the page and onto the stage, the new school scheme to bring Shakespeare to life. A police motorcyclist who crashed into a pensioner while escorting the Duchess of Edinburgh through London has choked up as he told a court it was a tragic accident which occurred in circumstances that he had no control over. 81-year-old Helen Holland died 2 weeks after the crash on West Cromwell Road in May 2023. PC Christopher Harrison denies causing death by careless driving. The trial continues. A West London council has rejected an application to list Shepherd's Bush Market as an asset of community value. Earlier this year, Friends of Shepherd's Bush Market applied for the special status in an effort to protect its future after major redevelopment plans by the developer U Capital were approved. The developers say the new plans will preserve its heritage and secure its future. And you can find more stories and the latest updates where you live on your local BBC News website and via the BBC News app.
The boss at a hospice in South London says the Chancellor must prioritise palliative care in the forthcoming budget. The plea from St Raphael's Hospital in Cheam comes a year after they were forced to make £1 million worth of cuts simply to stay afloat. It made several staff redundant and cut services because funding levels were failing to meet rising operating costs. Among the cuts was the disbandment of the Hospice at Home service which served the local area. Nick Stevens is the Chief Executive of St Raphael's.
It is crazy that provision of end-of-life and palliative care is funded by coffee mornings and charity shops when, if that was the case with our maternity services, for example, it would be a national scandal. So fair funding for hospices is something we really want the Chancellor to take very seriously at this budget.
And you can find out more on this story on BBC Newsnight tonight at 10:30 on BBC Two, the iPlayer or the BBC News Channel. Heathrow Airport is holding a meeting later with 1,000 businesses as it aims to respond to the government's request for further information about its expansion plans. There are currently 2 proposals on the table, one from the airport itself and another from the Aurora Group led by the hotel tycoon Surinder Arora. A decision on which developer will build Heathrow's 3rd runway is due to be made this month. The Royal Shakespeare Company is launching its Shakespeare curriculum in partnership with the Foyle Foundation in London. It describes it as a transformative education initiative designed to reshape how Shakespeare is taught in schools across the UK and internationally. The launch takes place in the historic Middle Temple Hall, where Twelfth Night was first performed in 1602. The new curriculum aims to make Shakespeare accessible, relevant and engaging for young people.
Now, we've often talked about the issue of littering, but wait until you hear this. A woman says she's been fined £1,000 by her local council for fly tipping an envelope. Is there more to it? Lakshmi Gopal has been to Feltham to find out.
This is the photo of the envelope that I got fined £1,000 for. And then all of this stuff was here before, like the polystyrene, the massive TV boxes.
After Loretta discarded an envelope onto a pile of rubbish near her building's bins, the council traced her from the address and is now pursuing her to pay up for fly tipping.
My heart sank. I was like, and I saw the £1,000 and I was just like, really, for one? And the first thing I thought was, it wasn't a mattress, it wasn't a fridge freezer, I'd understand, but just this size of it was horrible.
Hounslow Council wouldn't offer a payment plan, and if she can't pay the full fine, she faces court, which she fears might affect her job as a mental health nurse.
I'm a single mum and I just thought, okay, it's this time of year. I was thinking I've got bills to pay, rent to pay, Christmas coming up. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to find this extra £1,000.
Loretta says she discarded it there because the communal bins were full, not realising it was fly tipping. She thinks fines should be proportionate to the size of the rubbish.
Literally, it was just like a A4 kind of size envelope thing for £1,000. Yes, it was horrible. It's a very stressful situation. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
So this is a typical example of the sort of fly tipping that our residents face.
The leader of Hounslow Council says fly tipping costs them £4 million a year.
Do you think a £1,000 fine is proportionate for one envelope?
I think it is. We've got to remember that the government have allowed us to raise the fine to £1,000.
But does it seem like it's going after low-hanging fruit? Because the fly tipping that was the bigger problem, the big pile of rubbish underneath, didn't have addresses on it. It's only because her single envelope happened to have an address on it that she was targeted.
It has to send a message across the borough, and whilst I absolutely have sympathy for the circumstances of the resident in question, actually the bigger picture is that there is a zero tolerance approach to fly tipping, and we treat everyone equally.
The council says it's extended the deadline for Loretta to pay the fine and is looking into introducing payment plans in the future. Laxmi Gopal, BBC London.